My name is Krista Hagman, and I am a yoga instructor. Thank you, Kim, for introducing us. I also am a community organizer, a person passionate about conscious sexuality, and I am an affection advocate. And this is my sweetheart.
Hey, my name's James. Me and Krista met because I was teaching yin yoga, and she was in the class. And a big component of my practice, and from studying Thai massage and different aspects of healing modalities, is working with hands, working with touch as a teacher, as a practitioner, and as a partner.
And one thing for us that's really important about touch and really potent and special is that it's one of the clearest avenues for me to being present. Our physical sensations, which we receive from touch, either from ourselves, with others, with things around us, only exist in the present moment. So it's really a beautiful practice of presence for us. You have anything you want to say about that? You want to talk about Stitch?
Not yet.
Okay. So we're really more into the ooey gooey philosophy part, but as this is the science of touch, the thing we want to talk about most is the skin. And our skin is our largest external organ. The average human adult has about 8 pounds worth of skin on their body. And if you spread it all out like an odd, creepy human skin quilt, it would take up about 22 square feet. And within this skin, which has 3 layers, there are about 4 million nerve receptors that send and receive connection to the external world, to our mind and our brain and our body to figure out sort of where we are and what it is that we're doing. Besides that, the skin is basically this epic shield on the outside of our body that helps us to be protected from UV rays, and otherwise we'd get burned alive, our insides. It's waterproof, and it helps to regulate body temperature through blood flow. So if you get flush, like I probably am right now, and get warm, your skin gets redder. And perspiration helps to cool down internal body temperature. And there's this amazing quality that the skin has on a cellular level to turn sunlight into vitamin D, which helps to keep our bones healthy. So if you want strong, healthy bones, I suggest you go outside a lot and get sunshine. And an element that is really important for touch is self-massage.
True that. So can I have us just bring our hands up for a second, just to kind of get into our own body. And energetically, hands are an extension of our heart. So like in the practice of yoga, it's called karma yoga, people that serve with their hands. So think like Mother Teresa or Gandhi, or people that devoted themselves to others. And so, yeah, exactly. Let's just like bring heat to our hands as a way to bring attention and energy. And I just want us to take a moment and just start kind of like putting hands on our bodies. Yeah, your own body for now. And there's different ways too. It can be really useful to kind of see, how do you respond to this? What does this feel like? What does this communicate? And fingernails come in. You know, some of you get really excited, so it's fine. But we're just looking to see what it's like and give ourselves permission to be in contact with ourselves. So let's just kind of keep that going. Let's just like start particularly loving on our hands, our organs of action, our organs of service.
Yeah, make noise, pop things, crack things, move things around. There's lots of space that wants to be found between the bones, but it only is found when we really move into that space.
I think a big part of what we give ourselves permission to do anytime we touch place is we bring presence there. Like you said, is one of the things that's such a big part of practice is like sensation and awareness. So I just want us to kind of keep this going with our hands. And it's a way to bring like acceptance to something, right? If I know when I've had like a stomach ache or even emotionally had the feeling of being gutted because somebody passed or somebody that I loved no longer loved me. And there's this like bringing the hands there. So I'm going to ask for just a moment. What would it be like to close our eyes just for a sec and let Alanis Morissette or whoever's happening in the background fade out? And I mean, it's still there, I know, but I'd like for us to close our eyes just as a way to check into our body. And I want to invite you to bring your hands somewhere on your body that you want to send some healing energy and attention and love. Whether this is like physically because you have some dis-ease, or because there is an emotional connection to like, oh, there's a wound and I attach it here. And it doesn't matter where and it doesn't matter what. It's just responding to what's surfacing. So most healing happens with the hands, right? Whether you're a doctor or a dentist or a massage therapist or even a Reiki practitioner that can do energy work, most of us don't have the ability to heal in our knowing yet beyond like maybe 15 feet of proximity to even physical contact. But what's such a valuable component in this is connecting with how our hands are organs of compassion and of healing if we let them be.
Doesn't it feel good? Then you can do this to yourself. You wake up in the morning and you can just kind of awaken your skin, and all of a sudden your whole body, your whole exterior starts to notice that it's here and it's present, and then you walk into the day knowing my feet and my legs are beneath me and my spine is really tall and I'm ready to greet the world. And maybe we come from a place that's a little bit more open and sort of alive. And then we can carry that into our interactions. And our body is really meant to feel positive and to feel reinforced when we connect and touch others. And this comes because when we share touch with our beloveds or ourselves, that oxytocin, which we've heard a lot about this evening, gets released. And this neurochemical and hormone helps to solidify bonding. It's really important for mamas and new babies to create that bonding energy, so you don't just go, man, fuck this is hard, I just want to like leave this baby for a moment. But it really keeps us connected in that heart space. It also helps the body to relax. Touch helps to soothe and decrease the amount of cortisol in the body, which is a stress hormone. And it helps to increase serotonin, which helps our body regulate what's happening externally with our internal, and it helps us with eating, sleeping, and circadian rhythms, and just being attuned to sort of the flow and cycle of nature around us. Touch also stimulates the thymus gland, which I heard Matt talk about before. And this helps us to balance the body's production of white blood cells. So we actually have these, fighter cells within us so we can be more immune resistant and have better health and well-being to share amongst community. Touch also stimulates the vagus nerve, which is part of our parasympathetic nervous system, or the part of the nervous system that is in control of involuntary actions such as heart rate or blood pressure and things like that. So it helps us to just calm down, to find ease, to just be like, oh, it's okay. Like, have you ever had a really shitty day and someone comes up to you and they just really hold on and it's like, everything is okay now because I'm being held. And the body literally calms down. And the vagus nerve helps us decide if our body is in the rest or digest system or in fight or flight. And in rest and digest, we're really calm. We can move energy through. There's this flow. And fight or flight, it's like, holy shit, I have to decide what to do right now or I'm going to die. And that does not serve the body's response for just fluidity and slowness and movement. As babies, this is such, who has held a sleeping baby? And it's the best experience ever. And we're really supported as children. Our hand is held when we learn to walk around the world, to be our own person. We're celebrated. There's joy brought in, and premature babies actually gain weight faster when they have touch and affection versus babies that are just sort of left alone by their own devices. Touch therapy is a new thing coming out that I'm super interested in as an affection advocate. And it can help to release trauma that's stored in the body in non-linguistic parts of our brain that traditional talk therapy can't get to because there's no words for whatever happened. It just needs to be released energetically. And finally, as teachers, as yoga teachers who are obsessed with life force, this chi energy that when we're aroused just lifts us up, So touch can help to stimulate chi and movement through the body. And according to many ancient traditions, disease comes from a stagnancy of energy in our body. You know, you sit in a car, you sit at the office, and you get up and you're like so stiff and sort of out of balance. So if we bring movement and touch to these places, the energy in our body literally starts to flow more smoothly, and then we can move through blockages of energy. We get to touch each other.
I think one of the big relevances, too, that I hear from this and that I'm thinking of is that we can be in that flight or fight response, or we can be in something that is stimulating parasympathetic, getting us to a place of what a lot of spiritual practice is about for a lot of us, or what we aspire in life is just to feel calmness and pleasure, and anything you habituate shows up more often. And so if we can habituate stimulating our sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system to be calm, that can become more of a disposition for us. Let's stand up. We're going to do a really simple exercise that doesn't necessitate any talking, except from the two of us. I'm going to have you find somebody in the room that you don't know, and when you make eye contact, like that eye contact that like acknowledges one another, without even saying anything, we're just going to give each other a hug. And we're going to take 3 breaths together.
3 big breaths. Like breathe in the person that's between your arms. Hug them the way that you want to be hugged. If you can't find someone because we have an odd number or you broke a foot.
When you're done, we're going to do it another time with a new person.
So just carry forward. Find that connection. Really feel this body in front of you. Maybe close your eyes and like breathe them in. Find all those pheromones, the energetic piece that Kim spoke about, that we can connect with another human being on a physical level. That has nothing to do with sex. This hug has nothing to do with sex. It's about healing each other.
We're going to do one more. Find a third person. Last one. For now.
And notice how you hug. Is it the awkward ass out hug where you don't really know what to do? Bring your body into this beautiful being.
And then notice if your head is on the left side. And it's fine if it is. Just give them one more hug, same person for now, and let your head go to the right side. Just see what it's like. Let's hug somebody new. And make sure your head goes to the right. Somebody you haven't hugged yet, head goes to the right, 3 breaths. You don't even have to say hi. Head to the right, just to see. Is it different? You can stay for more than 3 breaths. That's the minimum. You can get extra credit. So what's illustrated in the first time I experienced this, and people call it heart hugs, is that there's something different in the alignment of our bodies when our head goes to one side versus the other. It's really simple, and you can theorize about, well, one side our spleen matches up and the other side our heart does, and there's more intimacy. It definitely seems more common that we go to the right side with our mothers and our children and our partners. But it's something that's always accessible, and it's worth seeing how much of a vehicle our body is, that it communicates something so different by just the direction of where our skull's put and how it aligns our whole central nervous system. Say again? The difference. Just, I don't want to, I'm less interested in postulating as to why, and more interested in that all of us, or most of us, I think, probably had an experience that it's different. Or we did go to the left, and I feel like I almost always do that, and that something was different about going to the other side. And so that there's this degree of checking in with how we go about things in our system and the energy we put through our hands, and the way that our system takes stuff in has such influence on how we experience the world. And so coming from the skin perceiving information all the way down to how it affects our neurotransmitters and chemistry, from oxytocin all the way down to serotonin, has such an influence in the normal disposition of our central nervous system and just how you experience life day to day.
So touch is amazing. And it isn't just for us. Non-human primates spend 20% of their waking hours grooming each other. And I just imagine a world if we spent 20% of our time in contact with other people, what the world would look like. Thank you.
Probably something like that.
You know, I learned at the co-op and just, it's fine.
It's significant. Why the co-op? It's significant, too, because we see it in human cultures, particularly as we get closer to the equator, is something that we've been talking about a lot because we're looking at traveling, and it's like, well, being affectionate advocates, it makes a lot more sense that we head places more tropical. Not just warmer food and more exciting music and dance, but there's definitely a quality of life that engages so much more touch. That there's a study that you had read about.
Okay, so there's this really interesting study done by a doctor named Matthew Hurtenston, or I butchered his name, but it just watched friends interacting during an hour lunch. And people in the UK touched each other one time in an hour. People in the United States touched each other twice. They were so excited. And Puerto Ricans touched each other 180 times during having lunch with each other. So there's so much more of this expressiveness, excitement. You know, your friend does something and it's like, yeah, that's so cool for you, instead of, oh my God, that's so exciting for you. And then we get this affirming that what I'm feeling empowers me, feels good, is connected now to my experience with this other human being. It's really incredible. This doctor, who has also done the most research in the world of touch, really advocates, as we do, that we live in a culture that is deprived of touch, particularly in America, although Ashland might be an exception to that rule, as we can see. But who has traveled to other parts of the world and just experienced touch and interaction with others so differently? And my experience of traveling to places is that there's a lightness there. There's this more connection of community, and it's a tighter web, but also a broader web of community and connection. So touch is literally, I want you to talk about. Okay. So it's funny to put into words how important touch is, because we can't verbalize. I can't touch you, you know, I can touch your heart or your spirit maybe with my words or the way that I appear, but how I touch your physical body, that's the way that we connect to each other on this plane, is so nurturing and essential. And we can communicate, you know, with our bodies in ways that don't involve words. I'm just so excited about this. And as you know, a lot of things tonight were about sexual arousal, and that's fantastic. And finding, if you've heard of the languages of love, and for those of us, some affection plays a really huge role. And that it's not just sexual touch in the way that we could be interacting with each other. Or maybe we don't only receive touch from our beloveds or our children or our really, really close circle of friends, but maybe the really nice person at the store that let you go in line because you're only buying one thing and they're buying 6, and you think, thank you so much, you know? And we can get reaffirmed. We can create this culture that has intention and attention and connection in it by just bringing it more into our lives on a daily, regular basis. So, one thing that we want to say is, you know, babies know touch before they know words. Touch is such an older way of communicating than verbal analytic language. It's something that culture can't beat. Like, our physical body knows more about the benefits of touch than how we've been framed to view touch, especially here, as this thing that's only meant for these few people. Or if it happens, like I walked up to you in line and it's, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And it's like, Jesus, just own your place, you know, touch and appreciate that you got a chance to connect with another human being. And maybe it didn't have to be because you really looked in and had some deep conversation, but you could just brush past them in space and have your body awaken because of that.
What I'm hearing, I think that what was most important to us when we looked at like why we want to be sharing this with people, besides taking it out of our personal connection with each other and with our puppy and with everything else we love experience touch with, because it's such a broader conversation too than just human touch. In part because a lot of us have experienced negative touch, whether it's sexual negative touch, whether it's physical trauma, whether it's just unwanted. And so there's a value for us too in really bringing it to all the places in our body, not just this human hand-heart connection, but to our connection with fire elements and with animals. And for some of us, more plants, our connection, whether it's working with the food that we eat and working outside, the conversation that Matt touched on, how there's bacteria in the soil that is a precursor to serotonin. And so even working at this earth element and connecting with that aspect of touch and intimacy is a way to create this norm of calmness and happiness in your life. And I think what's most significant, not that I want to look at American culture, United States culture as negative or deprived of affection, but part of the problem is so much of our affection, if it's not nuclear family, is perceived as sexual. Is perceived as we miss all of the spaces in between where touch and intimacy is normal, and it's why plants and animals can be so advantageous. It's why relatives are so important, because if you don't have them, you don't have touch in cultures like this quite often. And so I think the big piece that I pulled from all of this is that touch is older than language, whether in our own lives or as a species, as an evolved consciousness. And so we don't need to change our culture. We don't need to invent something new. It's already there. It was there in the moments that we hugged each other on the other side. And we can choose, to our own degree of comfort, to bring this norm back into our experience of human beings without having to do anything but doing something that was very innate and very normal, which is to let go of apologizing for taking in space and to acknowledge that affection is different than sexual touch. Although, of course, there's crossover when we want it to be. And so, I don't know, if I was to leave you with anything, it would be, how can you bring touch into your life more? And if it's hippy-dippy to you to hug everyone in the co-op, then don't do it. But maybe spending an hour with your puppy or with your child or your friend and letting your hand be on their knee in a way that just says, like, I love you and I'm here. Because there's so much fear around it. And because this is so primal to our nature, I have a bit of confidence in the knowing that you know what I mean and you want this too. Whether you're a highly affectionate person or a selective one, that it's still something that touches you, because on a neurochemical level, we know what it does for you. It creates bonding, it creates joy, it creates calmness in our systems.
So we want to leave you with tools of how to get your daily dose of touch. And that can be as simple as an idea that we both really love, which we might term as flirting. But flirting is really just this energetic recognition that I see you. And I can see you by lighting up, by being a little bit more joyful, by being really interested in what it is that you're excited about. And I can add some small touch, maybe to your back or to your elbow, or just places that don't feel like they're crossing a line, but they're affirming that I'm here, I'm present with you, and we're creating a bond together. And then outside of the human realm, we have a puppy. He's the best. He's so cute to snuggle with. Maybe you have a dog or a cat or a lizard or, I don't know, some other animal that just really, you can wrap your arms in and nurture this creature. It's something as taking your shoes off and feeling your feet on the earth, the texture, the flavor of the food, how it feels in your hands, how the sun feels on your skin as it helps you grow strong bones, and the coolness of the breeze, just really taking in how does your shirt feel on your back, or your shoes on your feet, or your hat on your head, just bringing more attention and awareness to our physical body in space. And knowing that if we start to normalize this sharing of experience with each other, that we create more consistent, casual times for connection to build a tighter and broader community, and just creating more of a human-on-human experience. So we love touch. We love affection. We believe, and I think that others agree with us, that touch is really fundamental to our health, our well-being, our ability to communicate and to create community with each other. Anything else you want to say?
As far as the releasing of oxytocin, it was kind of the value of the 3 breaths. It's about 20 seconds once we actually find that connection. So the traditional isn't going to do it. It takes a longer degree of connection, which is just like letting it be there. And somehow it seems to involve movement. It's about change. Heart is about movement. There's something creepy about it doesn't show up when we have this. So I think we're all here because we like creating shift, we like creating movement in our life, and it's definitely a heart-centered weekend if we want it to be. But allowing there to be these moments of stillness and connection with each other, I think Stitch is such a relevant point too. Because it's really important that you begin cultivating in a place that's safe. Yeah, and so whether it's with affection, whether it's with loving somebody, whether it's with trusting a conversation, just start somewhere you can cultivate a norm of, oh, touch is now normal, it's safe now, and then we expand from that place. And for everybody, that's different. We all have our own prescriptions of where we need to start from. It's recognizing that it is a starting point, and that bringing presence into your life from this practice is going to do everything from decrease the potential for anxiety and anger and depression and increase your ability to breathe and sleep better. So it's sexy in a non-sexual way, which the last bit I think I want to unpack is the word flirting, because we were playing with this, and that's where the puppy came up well. That's where playing with a child comes up, where you're doing the peekaboo. The best word I know for it is the Sanskrit word lila, which is like the dance of life. And it's this other kind of flirt where it's like, hey, I see you. Where sometimes it's easier to do with people that are a couple decades older or younger than us, because maybe we know we're not going to pursue something else. So there's this like, hey, we can just kind of like, that was really sweet and charming, and there was a loveliness there. And inviting that back into our, grocery store exchanges. If you're not at the co-op, if you're at the co-op, you got it, I think.
I think that's all we have. We do want to let you know, a little self-promotion. So we are super passionate about touch and about yoga, and we have a workshop that's tomorrow from 4 to 6 at Rasa Yoga Center. You can bring a beloved. You can come solo and be paired with another fabulous human being. If you have any questions, please let us know. My name is Krista. This is my sweetheart, James, and we are avid affection advocates. Go touch each other. Thank you.